So, today is the second episode of my 4-part self love series. So, we've talked about releasing comparison and being kinder to yourself. But today we're going even deeper because the way that you see yourself is the foundation for everything. And so, today's episode is about how to live your most authentic life so that you can attract all of the goodness, all of the sweetness, and all of the beauty that life has to offer you. And the first thing that I want us to get into is why this is so important. So, the first reason is that your authenticity is what attracts all of the right people and opportunities. And so, when you water yourself down, you attract situations that are not aligned with the real you. And instead, you end up attracting those situations that are aligned with that watered down version of you. And so, when I even look at situations and patterns in my own life, and when things have come into my life and when things haven't come into my life, every single time I have stepped into who I am, been 100% me, have poured into myself and really taken care of myself and just have been living my most authentic self is when I attracted the things that have aligned so well with me. And so I think authenticity is just such a key part of us attracting the things that are right for us. The second reason authenticity is so important is because people are counting on you specifically to show up exactly as you are. Your desires, your personality, all of it was put in you for a reason. And if we really think about it, look at the people around you and how many of them are exactly like you and want all the same things as you. Like probably a very, very limited amount, probably none. And I even look at my close friends. And we each have such different careers, different passions, different personalities, different strengths, different weaknesses. And of course, there are some similarities, but all like that whole combination of who we are is so unique to each and every one of us. And all of that is put into us for a reason. And so, if those desires were put in you for a reason, that means the world is counting on you to put it out there. So, when you are not living your most authentic, radiant life, not only are you letting yourself down, but you are letting down everyone else who is counting on you. The third reason authenticity is so important is because it just feels good to be you. It feels good when we know that we are showing up authentically as ourselves and living to our full potential. And really think about a time when you were somewhere and you showed up true to yourself, when you had a conversation with someone and felt as though you were being 100% you and how good that felt. And now I want you to realize that that is how life is supposed to feel. Life is supposed to feel good. Life is supposed to feel like you are being yourself and able to just show up exactly as you want to be showing up and exactly as you are. And I know personally for me, when I go places and I don't feel like myself or make myself small, I always end up leaving there and just like don't feel good. I feel not the best about myself. But when I go and show up as my most authentic self, have conversations from that place of just like, okay, this is who I am and the right people are going to come into my life, life just feels so much better. And now I want us to get into how to step into your authenticity. Because I think when we step into our authenticity and when we are living again as our full, most unique self, life ends up working out a lot more in our favor. And so the first way to step into it is to really know yourself deeply and realize what authenticity means to you. So reflect on what makes you unique, what makes you you, what is so important to you, and what your values are. And I think this is so important to know too, because when you know what your values are, you're able to live by them. So something I do with clients too is we write down all of our values and then we're like, okay, what does that mean to you? Because just knowing the value sometimes isn't enough because it can mean so many different things. And when you are very specific on your values and what each of them mean to you, you're able to live your life from that place. The second way to step into your authenticity is to stop apologizing for being who you are. And this is directed at all of you who say sorry too much and don't speak up. And trust me, this was me at one point. I definitely grew up feeling more shy, was afraid of saying the wrong things, and was just not fully comfortable taking up that space. And now when I find myself reverting back to that, I catch myself and ask myself how I can grow from it instead, because it is also normal to sometimes be in our heads to feel like, okay, maybe I'm going to say the wrong thing. Are people going to judge me? But when we realize that we are meant to take up space, we are exactly who we are meant to be, and the people that are meant to be in our life will always be in our life. Again, not only does that feel better, but that just lets us radiate our authenticity even more. And it's just remembering that you are allowed to take space and you are meant to take up space. Like, you were put on this earth for a reason, and you are exactly who you are for a reason. And it is for you to take up space and for you to be who you are. The third way to step into your authenticity is to do more of those things that bring you joy and that truly, truly light you up. And I love the idea of having a joy list. So what are the things that you love doing, that you have fun doing, and then just making time to do more of them. And so something I love to ask myself every morning is, how can I bring more joy into today? And sometimes that is as simple as you're in line at the grocery store and you smile at a stranger, or maybe that is listening to your favorite playlist when you're driving, because no matter what in life, there are going to be things that don't make us feel so good. There's going to be things that happen that we can't control. But when you are able to bring in joy, life is able to flow so much more. And joy and love is like our baseline. Like, when we are born, we are not meant to be miserable. We are not meant to not be anything but ourselves. But I think as we grow older, we take on other people's beliefs. We take on those restrictions. They're like, oh no, don't do that. Don't do this. You have to do that. You have to do this. And as a result, we just forget who we are and forget the things that bring us joy and what makes us feel good. And so I think bringing in more of those things that bring you joy, bringing in those things that even you love to do when you were younger, is such a beautiful way to tap in to your most authentic self. The fourth way to step into your authenticity is to make decisions that align with you and start choosing what serves you, even when that is a little uncomfortable. So before you make a decision, pause and ask yourself, does this feel aligned with me, or am I doing it out of guilt or expectation? And I recently had a moment with this, with myself, where I said yes to something and it was just not something that really aligned with me. I was like, I don't know why I said yes to this. I don't really want to do it. And I kept going back and forth. I was like, I feel bad not doing it. I feel bad not following through with my word. And then I ended up not going with it. And even though it was a very uncomfortable conversation, it felt so good to be living out of a place of alignment and just honoring how I felt in that time instead of constantly putting other things ahead of that. And the last way to step in to your authenticity is visualization. So ask yourself, who is the most authentic, confident version of yourself? And sometimes we just have to reflect on that. And something I love to do is just like reflect on what my self-concept is and what I want it to be and what authenticity means to me, and just like jotting down a bunch of those points. And then I also love to just put that into ChatGPT and being like, okay, can you write me a self-concept statement based on that? And so just like having that in my mind and then visualizing that person is so, so helpful and feels so, so good. So asking yourself, how would they show up? What would they do daily? What do they wear? How do they carry themselves? And just begin visualizing this version of yourself and showing up as it. I want to end this episode off by saying, the more that you love yourself, the more that you show up as your most authentic self, the more effortless life feels, because you're no longer fighting to be someone you're not. You are exactly who you are meant to be. And when you completely accept that, when you completely love that, when you completely show up as that, you will see how much more reflects that in your reality and how much more just things work out for you. I really hope this episode was able to resonate with you, and I would love to hear anything that did resonate with you all. I am sending you all so much love and light, and we will chat in the next episode.